Ugh. Well, I am currently walking over to where my car is dropped off to where I need to go pick it up. And basically, I think I'm packed and ready to go. I just have to go to the grocery store, which I have to just grab a couple of things. Supplies that I couldn't find yesterday. And just things that weren't worth getting yesterday. I have to go buy some water. I didn't realize until a couple of days ago that chances are where I'm going and where I'll be staying generally probably doesn't have filtered water, or it's not to say that the water's not going to be clean. It's just I don't know if it's going to be drinking water. So I have to get at least a couple liters of water just to have with me. And I'm packed. I'm ready to go, I think. This is always the most frustrating part because you know, like deep down inside, chances are you're bound to forget something that you're gonna need, but at the same time, it's like at this point, it doesn't really even matter. So, I'm out of breath because this is already round 2 of trying to go get this car. I forgot my license and realized that even though it's down the street, I still need to have a license with me because it would be my luck that I would get freaking arrested and have my license suspended if I drove without it. So I had to go back and get it. So I'm basically warmed up for today, which is, you know, always good. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm a little bit nervous, still a little bit nervous, but excited. So I don't know, let's see where the hell this car is. I can barely see right now. It is so sunny today, but it is honestly like the perfect day for this race. It is sunny, but there's a nice cold breeze. The drive was pretty easy. There was a little bit of traffic, but it wasn't too bad. There was a little bit of melodrama with the car picking up situation, considering I watched the girl that was driving it before run the car right in the front bumper into a cement block and it completely dented it in. Anyways, we'll talk maybe about that later, but I just got to the property, parked the car, changed. Now I'm gonna go pick up my stuff, pee, because I have to piss like a racehorse, and then eat my bagel, and then get ready. I think it's 3:45, so what, I got about 30 minutes before the race starts, which is exciting. Ran into a person running the race at the Tim Hortons, which was nice. It's nice to see everybody's getting fueled up for today. But it seems like there's already a crazy ton amount of people here, so it's exciting. It's exciting. It's gonna start. This is the outfit for day 1. The before the mud. We'll see what all happens and how muddy the course is. Apparently it's pretty muddy out there, so we'll see. But yeah, that's about it so far. I guess once we get up to where the party's happening, I'll show you guys around there. So, here's the end of the race. I'm actually not too covered in mud. I thought it'd be a lot worse, and I've cleaned off a bunch of it. These are not the pants that I clearly started with from the beginning of the video. I've switched out of them and put on comfy shoes as well. Well, as far as what I can tell, apparently they were having some serious chip problems, so they were, I don't know, I didn't get my official time or unofficial time, but from what I can tell from my watch, it took me about 2 hours to finish the course. I'm a little disappointed. I thought I'd be able to finish it a little bit faster. There were times where I honestly probably could have ran more of it, or I could have moved faster, or I don't know. There's just a lot more that I feel like I could have done better. But at the same time, I have to remember the rest. Well, first of all, I also knew that I couldn't completely blow myself out, especially because I have 2 more days of this. And I know that I didn't want to hurt myself in any way, just in case. But yeah, I don't know, we're done. And right now, I don't want to talk too much. I wanted to just get a right after shot so you guys could just see exactly how I look. I feel good. I don't really feel tired. I don't really feel sore. I'm sure I will tomorrow morning, but I'm going to stretch basically all evening. I'm going to have a good dinner. I'm going to cook some dinner. But I'm just anxious to get over to the place that I'm staying at, because I have a late check-in and it's an Airbnb, so I don't know how this is going to go over. Hopefully it goes over smoothly. And I guess I'll talk a little bit more once I get there, get home to my new home for the weekend, shower, and then kind of go over how it all went, but that's basically it so far right now. That's all I got really to say. I'm a little disappointed that I couldn't do it a little bit faster, but again, remember, no training, no running since June. Well, no, that's a lie. Minimal running since June. I'm out of shape. I got halfway up the rope climb, which is better than I've ever done it, but I'm determined by the end of this weekend to get up that freaking rope. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit more once we actually get back to the cabin. I want to shower and eat. Yeah. Alright, so end of day one. I'm back at the cabin that I rented out for the weekend, and I am actually pretty impressed with it. It came a lot more prepared, or it was a lot, it's just actually quite nice. I honestly thought it was going to be like these one little cabins that they offer around in this area that have like no bathroom, or their bathroom's like outside of your actual cabin, and I am so glad that I ended up picking this place because it's really perfect for what I needed for this weekend, and it's super close to the race grounds, which is also great because that means I can sleep in as long as I want, or sleep in a lot longer than I probably, you know, could have staying anywhere else, basically, so that's a bonus. I don't know, today, I don't know, I'm kind of feeling weird. I guess I'm feeling a little weird now. It's 9 o'clock after race day 1, and okay, overall, the race itself, I didn't think it was crazy hard. I personally, when it comes to the obstacles themselves, I think the obstacles that I find the most difficult, or the obstacles that really make me feel, I hate to say defeated, but make me feel, I guess, for lack of a better word, that do make me feel defeated are the walls, because I can't get over them by myself as of right now. I just don't have the physical upper body strength. So I was lucky enough that both times that I came across a wall that I wasn't going to be able to get over myself, both times I ran into, or there were people already there trying to get over the wall, or were getting over the wall, and there was both different times there were two different guys that helped me over, which I'm really grateful for, because it just, again, the whole point of these races really breeds, especially in the open category, it really breeds friendships, it breeds a healthy community. And I mean, I find that the sprint is a little funny because you get such a mixed bag of people, because you get first timers, you get people who have done this a million times, you get people who have done this a couple of times, you get big groups of people who are doing it, you see people who are doing it alone, and I have always done these races alone, so it was actually really interesting. I ended up actually seeing a familiar face. This guy, there was a guy that I saw on the course, but he was way ahead of me on where, like, there's many points in the course where there's the trail that they've marked off kind of meets up, but it's divided, and so these people are already like way ahead of you and are actually, or much further ahead of you, and you're just kind of seeing them pass by. He passed by, and he was actually in my hurricane heat that I ran in June, so I like wanted to stop him and say hi, but it was like such a quick crossing, and I also didn't want to stop him in the middle of the race and be like, hey, do you maybe remember me? I kind of helped carry you through a portion of the hurricane heat. But that's kind of the really fun thing about these races, is that you do make friends, and you do see a lot of familiar faces, especially in the elite athletes, because they try, I think there's a point system in their world, and I don't really know too much about the elite competing, because it's just not something I'm interested in. But as far as like the overall race went, yeah, there were a lot of hard parts. I did 5, 10, I did 30, 60, 90, 120,
150. I think I did 150 burpees today. There were 5 obstacles that I just couldn't complete, which sucked. I mentioned earlier that I got halfway up the rope climb and I felt so good about it because it is one of those obstacles that last year I got a personal trainer to teach me how to specifically do that one thing, and to be able to get halfway up, I was so excited, but unfortunately my shoes were so wet and so muddy, I couldn't get a grasp with my feet, and then my hands were just the rope was slipping out of my hands, and unfortunately I just had to let go and I just couldn't do it, so I had to take the punishment for it, which is okay. But I'm determined to at least get it done once this weekend. Overall, the race itself, I felt okay about. I ran as much of it as I possibly could, though I do feel I could have probably ran more of it. There is a Jocko video that I came across and heard from Rogan's podcast a couple of months ago. It's this very small clip, I think from a podcast that he may have done, and it's a very motivational video, and I listened it on the way to the race, and I kept hearing it in my head as I ran along. So I'm gonna leave a link to it in the description box below if you guys want to check it out. He's an ex-Marine, just incredibly inspirational, incredibly motivating, and I like hard people like that because it just, I don't know, I relate to them on some level. I feel like I can relate to them on some level. I don't know, I'm kind of in a weird headspace right now because I feel I don't know why, but when I crossed the finish line, I felt a little defeated because I felt like I could have done better. But at the same time, I haven't trained or worked out seriously in weeks. This year, like I mentioned at the beginning from yesterday's video, or from the first video, because I don't know when these videos are not going up in day of, because I just didn't feel comfortable bringing my laptop with me. So you'll get these videos when I get back at some point during the week. But from the first vlog video I've mentioned in my last couple of videos recently too, that I had some serious medical issues a couple months ago that really threw my plans off working out. My training, the death race, it took everything off course, and I got really depressed. So this is since the hurricane heat, this is the first serious race since the hurricane heat that I've done. So the fact that I've walked away with it, and I actually feel pretty good. My shoulders feel sore and my knees are pretty banged up, but overall I feel good. I just rolled my legs out and I stretched, and I'm probably going to stretch a little bit before I go to sleep flat out go to sleep. But overall, I don't know, I just feel kind of defeated. I don't know what it is. And I'm also kind of feeling lonely. So I think that's a big aspect of this kind of feeling that I'm having. I feel good that I finished it, and I'm happy that I finished it because I know I'm gonna finish this weekend. It was hard. There were definitely points in time. There was at one point in the course where I was going along and it literally felt like around the corner was the finish line, and it was it was like, nope. It was like another 1.5 kilometers, or at least another kilometer to go, and I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? It was like the biggest tease moment ever. The trail just kept taking me deeper and deeper into the woods. I'm like, well, so much for that. So much for almost finishing. So much for almost finishing in an hour and a half. I think it took me about 2 hours to finish, which compared to my previous times, my very first time, I was in the best shape of my life, and it took me, I think, 1 hour and 20 minutes, which even in that circumstance isn't, amazing, but it's been probably my best time ever. Last year, Montreal was hands down one of the tougher courses I've ever done, and that one I think took me much longer. It took me, I think, 2.5 hours, to be completely honest. It took me a really long time because I was scaling the side of a mountain in freaking the middle of nowhere, and it was a real mountain and there was no air, so that was really tough. But overall, this course wasn't too bad. It wasn't crazy muddy. It was so funny to listen to people complain along the parts where the course takes you where it is really muddy. And it was funny to hear them complaining because they're just like, the mud today was about shin deep. So it was about a foot deep. Where by Sunday, it's probably going to be like thigh deep. So it's really funny to hear people complaining about the mud and like trying to get away, like get around and get away the mud, get away from the mud. It's just so funny. It's just like, oh my god, you guys, what did you sign up for? Like, that is the one thing I do have to warn all of you of, is that when you sign up for these races, there is mud. You're going to get dirty whether you like it or not. And I just I showered a couple of hours ago, so my hair is just finally drying. And it took me, I think I was in the shower for 20 minutes because I had to literally scrub the dirt off my skin because it was not coming off. The other thing that rattled me, usually, okay, this is the other thing I just kind of, I'm just reminding myself of everything I kind of wanted to talk about. The other thing that I experienced during these races, the first like 10 to 15 minutes, probably even longer than 10 minutes, realistic, probably 15 minutes of the race is the hardest for me because it's like all the nerves, all the stress, all the anxiety is kind of finally like built up is finally kind of making its way through like physically as my body is moving. So it's like I can't catch my breath, I'm having a hard time pacing myself. And I felt like I kept actually a pretty good pace in the first half. I was able to keep up with a fairly, good group of people, and then eventually I started losing them because I just wasn't able to physically keep up with them. I just wasn't able to run and keep up with them, which is, it, again, to me, what my goals are and what my expectations of myself are inside my head are so much higher than where I am. So that's why I'm struggling so hard, and that's why it's always such a struggle, because I feel like I can always do more, and that's why I do these races, because it's kind of like the reality check I need throughout the year to be like, why aren't you going to the gym? Why aren't you working out? Why aren't you pushing yourself so much harder than you are? Because you can. And that's the big thing for me, is that these races are from moderate to hard, and for me, some of them, like, depending, I guess, which one I've done, some are harder than others for various different reasons, but overall, these races for me aren't that hard mentally anymore. They definitely take a toll on me mentally, because it's just the conversation I'm having with myself the entire time inside my head. But overall, it's like physically I know I can get through them because I have gone through them before and in so many different locations. So I've experienced like a variety of different environments that I've been able to get through. I don't know what it is, but it's just like, it's like through parts of the course I'm sprinting, I'm able to keep a good pace. Other parts I'm just huffing and puffing and I just can't catch my breath. And that's the big thing for me with running. Like, I can run, I know I can run, but I have a really hard time pacing. I don't know how to pace yet, and I struggle with that constantly. And as well, the other thing is like I just have a hard time moderating my breathing, which I guess has a lot to do with pacing as well. But overall, again, I feel like I probably could have ran it faster. I'm happy that I just finished at this point. There's no reason to keep mulling it over. The other thing that kind of rattled me on the course was that there was a dunk wall. And last year, I don't know if I ever talked about this in a video ever with you guys, but last year on this property, I experienced my first dunk wall, which basically is usually the way they lay it out. There are multiple mud pits that go from mud hill into water, muddy water, up a hill into muddy water, and up and, you get the gist. And usually towards the second last pit, there is a wooden wall that you have to go under. So you have to go underwater and under the wall to pop up on the other side and go along onto the next mud hill and then go down. For me, last year was the first time I experienced the dunk wall. Ironically, the whole experience last year, I got to that point. Ironically, during that race, it was my first beast. It was like 20 minutes into the race, or maybe 15 minutes into the race. I rolled my ankle in the woods, and luckily everything was fine. I stood there for like a minute, and the second it happened, I was just like, oh my god, no. Because I'm not even, I don't even think I was 2 kilometers in, let alone a kilometer in, and I was just like, oh my god, I just destroyed my trifecta. Like, I'm done. I'm basically done. And I just stopped for a second, I'm like, nope, I'm good. Everything's fine. It feels fine. Okay, I'm just gonna keep going. Like 5 minutes later, I get to the mud pits, and I come to the dunk wall, and there was, I think, like a girlfriend-boyfriend couple there, and the girlfriend, I'm just gonna call her the girlfriend, was seemingly having a really hard time going under. Like, she was really scared of going under, and she was really nervous about it, visibly nervous. So I went up to her, and because I always get so much help with the walls, I always try and pass on, like, the kindness, and I always try and, like, just pass on the good karma, and I always try and help people along the way if I can. So I kind of stopped for a second, I talked to her, I'm just like, we're gonna do this together, we're gonna go under at the same time, it's gonna be okay, like, we're gonna do this together, it's totally fine. And it's funny, because as we both went under, I went to go under, and it felt like there was less than a foot of actual space to get under, or maybe there was a little bit more than a foot of space, but basically I went under, and because I did not take my pack off, I actually got stuck. So I was able to get up far enough that my head was coming up above the water, but just barely. So it was one of those moments in my life, like, there are very few, like, literally on one hand I can think of how many experiences I've had of, like, pure fear and terror because I have no control over the situation and I feel like I'm gonna die. It was that moment where I realized I'm stuck. I can barely keep my head over the water because the water's so high, and I'm gonna drown under this wall. I, like, was barely able to yell out that I'm stuck, and to this day, I have no idea who got me out. So if by some miracle of chance you're watching this video, thank you for saving my life. But somebody noticed behind me, and I'm pretty sure it was a guy, because I remember a male voice. But he said, I'm gonna pull you out, so just take a deep breath. And I remember somebody grabbing my backpack and pulling me out back to the other side of the wall. And everybody was yelling at me. They're like, take off your pack. I'm like, yep, gonna do that now. It was genuine. Like, I was so shaken, and I had to go under the wall. I didn't have a choice. I was gonna have to do it all over again. So I did that all over again. I went back under the wall and came up on the other side. And I was so shaken and was just, like, horrified of what I had just done and what just happened, and that I could have almost literally just died there. I had to face that same dunk wall again this year, except it was in a different spot, or at least it seems like it was in a different spot this year. There were 2 guys in front of me that were kind of just on the side that I was on, and I started noticing them taking their packs off, and even though I ended up finding my old pack and my old Camelback, and it's a lot smaller than my 3-liter one, I still didn't want to take any chances, and I took it off, and I went under the wall. Instead of going, like, right under, like, going out this way, I ended up twisting and facing the wall because I really didn't want to give myself any chance of getting stuck. and it felt like there was a lot more space this time, but overall, just like that whole experience, even the second time around, I was like shaking just a little bit because I was having flashbacks of the experience I had last year. So overall, this race was pretty good. It felt like the standard Spartan race. There were a lot of obstacles that I was able to do that I got through quite easily. Generally, like a lot of the heavy lifting stuff or any of the stuff that takes like any just physical labor, like as far as pulling or carrying heavy things like that, I don't really have that much of a trouble with. I feel like I'm generally like I can lift heavy things, but it's lifting. I can lift heavy things like buckets or sandbags, but I can't lift myself. That's too much weight. I apparently can't. The monkey bars, my hands were wet. Then I tried taking my gloves off. I tried it with my gloves. They were too wet. I couldn't grab a hold of the bar. I tried with my bare hands and I couldn't grab it either. So that like felt really defeating because I was able to do that like 4 or 5 months ago and now I can't do it anymore. So it's just like I'm realizing a lot of the things like that I was able to do even just a couple of months ago, and I still like and like I worked so hard to get to that point and now I still can't do it. So it's very emotional for me because it's just like I hate feeling defeated because I know that I should be proud. I know that basically I'm walking into these races with no training and like no, like I am like not in any like physical shape. Like I have not ran in weeks. I haven't done anything in weeks. So I don't really like I can't beat myself up that much because like, what can I expect? But yeah, it was interesting. But I don't know. I'm kind of feeling lonely as well. I don't know, it was just kind of a slap. There's been a lot going on in the last couple of days where it's just like I've been feeling extra lonely and extra defeated with my dating life, which has nothing to do with this race or these races or with this video really, but it's just kind of like really pushing my body this physically hard. It's a really dark thing to say, but I think a big reason why I do these races is all the positive side, like all the positive stuff when it comes to like really pushing myself and like expecting more of myself and showing myself that my body is capable of so much more. But it's also like the physical pain kind of masks and kind of overshadows the mental pain, which I guess is a little dark. But it's just, I've been going through so much the last couple of months that's like a big reason I do these races as well. Like the whole reason I started doing these races in the first place was because I was depressed and I needed some positivity. I needed something to work towards, and that's why I started training every single day. That's why I literally was going to the gym every single day, because it gave me a feeling of accomplishment, like what little accomplishment that I was able to have at that point in time. So I guess it's kind of evolved at this point for me. That's kind of how I feel because of how much I've been through this year. That's kind of where my feelings are right now. They're not the brightest feelings, but it's the truth, and I don't feel as though it's worth hiding from any of you who maybe are struggling as well. These races are a great way for me to physically get all that anger out and physically, emotionally just get all that stuff out, because I don't have any other way of really getting it out, and especially lately I haven't been going to the gym, so physically I haven't really had that outlet. So this is like an extreme overdose this weekend of just like pushing my body as hard as I can. And I guess it's like super poetic in a way, because like this whole year has been a buildup of just one uncontrollable thing after another, where now it's all kind of built up to this weekend, and now I'm overdosing on just like physically beating the crap out of my body. So we're gonna see how it goes. Hopefully, I don't know. For anybody who's interested in an update in my love life, there is no love life. It's dead and dying, and it's dying and dead. It's been dying and it is dead. I guess at this point I'm just kind of lonely, and today I guess a part of that was kind of perpetuated or like brought up because I saw so many couples. I saw so many like happy couples like walking to like through the parking lot in the morning, like in the afternoon to get to the like the beginning of the race, and then throughout the course as well. And it's just like, I don't know, I kind of wish that I could find somebody that was interested in the same things, let alone liked me enough to be with me for a longer period of time. As sad as that is. Um, but just like somebody else that was interested in these things, and I just like don't even really have that in my friend circle. So it's a little defeating. Today's been a little defeating on many levels. So I wanted to share with you guys like why I feel so blech about the accomplishment that I've had. Even though this is like such an accomplishment and I know that I should feel super pleased with myself and that like I shouldn't be upset and that I should be very happy and proud of myself, but fuck. I really wish that life worked out a little differently this year on many levels. But such is life, I guess. Unfortunately, as I'm learning, not learning, I know it's unpredictable. I'm learning to accept on a mass level that life is incredibly unpredictable, unfortunately. But then fortunately too, because it's kind of like makes it interesting. But anyways, I am going to enjoy my hot chocolate, stretch a little bit more before bed, watch some more Netflix, and then go to bed, because tomorrow morning 9:45 is the start time, and we're going to see how it goes. It's going to be a much longer course, which was really interesting. I think this course, I didn't actually, I guess I have to pull it up on my phone. I didn't sync up my watch. I think it was much longer than 6 kilometers. I think it was closer to 7 or 8. So it's always funny with these obstacle course races because they kind of give you a general idea of how long the course is actually is, because they can only, I think it's really hard to kind of to really measure out accurately how far the distance is going to be, considering the paths and just the different things or the different routes you may take or whatever. It's hard to account for hills too and distances, I think. So, tomorrow, generally, the super is anywhere from, like, 14 to 16 kilometers, I think. I don't know at this point. We'll have to see, I guess. And then the beast is Sunday. Tomorrow, I'm really hoping that I get done at least mid-afternoon, because I really want to, like, come back and then shower and actually go out to the beach and, like, enjoy it or enjoy my time here. Especially because the whole layout of this little cabin and everything is so cute. Like, there's a picnic table and a fire pit in the back, and I really want to, like, sit and enjoy that. I don't want to just sit, cook dinner, and then go to bed. But we'll see. I'm just, like, I'm hoping for a little bit of downtime tomorrow. Like, I really want to enjoy my downtime. This is, like, my long weekend, because last weekend was my long weekend, but I didn't do anything. So, because I knew this was going to happen this weekend, so this video is already going to be crazy long because of the other videos I'm going to have to add to this, and then this is like 30 minutes long. Oh, okay, so quick story. I did mention it earlier. The drama with picking up my car. I literally was, because I use a car sharing service and I've talked about it countless times in my videos, you can rent a car at any place, anytime for the most part, and you can go and pick it up at its location. They give you a location, and I knew somebody was renting the car prior to me and had it up into my booking time. So I was standing around waiting for the car to show up, and it was these two really young girls. Like, they couldn't have been more than 18. If they were 18, I'd be surprised. These two really young girls were driving this brand new Mazda, and it's like, oh my god. I watched the girl that was driving plow the car right into a cement block, which completely dented in the front, like, bottom bumper, and I was just like, bitch, you've got to be kidding me. I don't have time for this. And I honestly thought I was going to have to, like, go pick up another car in another location and blah, blah, blah. And luckily, when she backed up off the cement block, it, like, bounced back because everything's, like, for the most part is, like, plastic and is super cheap nowadays when it comes to cars. Luckily, it, like, bounced back, and it just, there are some minor dents, but, like, some serious scratches, so then these fucking girls are, like, get out, and I'm just like, you better be reporting this, because I am not taking responsibility for this damage, especially because I had the car all long weekend. So I, like, called right away. I was on the phone for, like, 10 minutes, and it was just like, oh my god, I do not need this. It was just a ridiculous start to this weekend, and to just fetching the car, so I was just like, this is how it's gonna be all long weekend. But luckily, everything else has been good. For now. We'll see how it goes. But all y'all have a good night, and I will see you tomorrow morning.